thanks for having me. Sorry if I'm a little nuts because I've been painting all day. I was thinking about what to say tonight, and like everyone, it's easy and hard to talk about these things, but I come from a very, very strict Eastern European family, and I never knew much about my culture, even though my parents were first generation. In America, we're all immigrants, but nobody tells you that. So it takes a long time to understand that who you are is where you're from, and you may not know where you're from, but it's there and it's in you. And it started to come out in my artwork. So my work is mostly a representation of Polish and Russian folk art with my own weird psychedelic twists. I'm from Colorado, but I came up as an artist in the Bay Area, and it was really wild when I was there. It was like the late 90s, early 2000s, and people were painting on the streets, and I was getting a very formal education, while getting my master's, but we were going crazy everywhere. And we had no space, and I wanted to paint big. So I learned how to paint on the streets so that I didn't have to store my paintings, which is key if you're living in places like New York or San Francisco. You have to figure out how to get it out of your life because you can't take it with you and you can't store it anywhere. So I started painting these huge walls, and I loved it. I loved it from the start. I loved that it was free to everybody. I loved that people were affected immediately by it. I love that as a woman, I finally had a voice, and anybody could paint on a wall and have a voice. And I think, especially now, it might be the only thing we have. So it's important to figure out how to talk about the things you need to talk about. And I don't meet a lot of women that paint on the street. It's very male dominated. I work definitely 3 times as hard for less pay, but I don't think that that's something that we're not used to. So I do it because I love it. And when you do what you love, you don't think about how hard it is. You think about how great it is every single time someone calls you and gives you an enormous wall. I wish that I could tell you more about my process, but I don't believe in projection, so I don't project very often. I use really traditional grid methods, and because of that, I end up building a lot of my walls on my own mistakes. They're based off of drawings. I get one large image up, but then I usually have to figure out where everything else is gonna fit, and I make mistakes all the time. But I just know that it's going to be okay because it's my wall, so it doesn't matter. And I love it every day. And I was really fortunate because in February, even though I live in Los Angeles, I spend a lot of time in Joshua Tree, and I was able to buy a piece of land with a house on it completely from my artwork, which I never thought I'd ever be able to do. So all of this hard work and all of this energy that I feel anybody can put out in the world will come back to you twofold if you just keep putting it out there. I feel like most days I'm living my best life even when it's not a good day. And it's work. It's more work than anything I've ever done in my life. But I get up, I get to that wall at 7 a.m., I work as long as I can. I dance a lot on the lift, so if you see me, I'm usually rocking out pretty hard on the lift, and I just try to have a good time because I think it's our most effective way of being in the world right now. We all know that it's a hard place. I don't think that anybody could say anything different right now, but if you have the opportunity to put things out into the world that might change someone's mood, even if it's just to make them stop for 5 minutes, you've done a really good job. So public art is easily, I think, one of the most effective ways to do that. And I feel lucky that other countries welcome me in to do things that they use money to pay me to bring me in. I'm grateful every day, and this city in particular is beautiful. I've been riding a borrowed bike every morning to my wall, and it's a lovely city. But I hope that people continue to understand that you can do anything you want to. This building was a 6-story building on a synagogue, just to give you an idea on a religious structure. Never thought I'd ever get to do anything like that. Talk about family validation. My Jewish family finally kind of understood at 43 years old what I do, because I painted on a synagogue, you know. But you know, it seems overwhelming, and I'm glad that there's so many people that are doing murals for the first time. It's actually not, and you can do it. And I'm super open to people stopping and asking me about painting, even if I have my headphones on. I always get really excited. Right now, at my current wall, I have a lot of children coming up to it, and they're just going bananas over it, which is, I think I've done pretty good for the day. But yeah, I wish that I could sit here and talk to you guys and make sure you really know that doing it is a good time, and I hope that you will talk to me afterward and I can convince you, because I see so many women in this room who are undoubtedly creative people, and I hope that you're making and doing everything that you want to be doing in your life. We're under siege right now. We need help, so it's good to see everybody here. It's good to see everybody supporting each other. I don't get to see this many women in one room, especially this many creative women, very often. And in Los Angeles, we're very spread out, the artists, so we don't get to see each other very much. So yeah, it's a real treat. You can see, obviously, by my slides, I have a very specific color palette. And I was always told I wasn't supposed to use black in paintings. I use it all the time. I use it constantly. I was told, like, over and over again, don't ever use black. I use it all the time. And a lot of these pieces, not many of them are in Los Angeles. A lot of them are kind of all over the place, but they represent very much the rhythm of the cities that I'm painting in. So you can kind of, especially when people are local that come to the wall, sometimes they can kind of see why I'm doing what I'm doing. Sometimes they can't, but again, it's about the rhythm and what you feel when you come to a city. Like this one's in Joshua Tree, and the light is so bright there all the time. It's just almost, you know, unforgiving, but it also makes for amazing paintings because of the light. Everything reflects back at you, and it feels very soft, and it feels very energetic. So I gave you guys a very bright wall, because I know you have long winters. So everything is very, very, very bright. I also used red, which I never do, because I thought it would be a real treat when you have those gloomy days to have something reflect back. This is in New York, so it actually wraps all the way around. And yeah, it was my first museum piece. So that was last summer, first time a museum ever asked me to do anything. Yeah. So I hope that was good, and thank you for having me.